Brandon, please join me. How are you doing, mate?
Doing fantastic. How about you, Bastian?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you. I know it was close. You were just making his word. You were out and about. Where do you just come from?
Man, so long story short, I'm working right now. So, the guys at work were, generous enough to let me kind of slide in here. They know the importance of speaking on this and to the community on speaking about these things. So, give them a thanks and a kudos. Appreciate them, and I hope you guys do too.
Wonderful. Well, thanks to you, and thank you to your clients or employers for giving you a couple of minutes to join us here during World Diabetes Day live from the US. Where are you based?
West Coast, LA.
West Coast. All right. What time is it where you are?
Oh man, right now it is we're just approaching 8:30 right now.
8:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Oh, shift just started. All right. Brandon, topic for World Diabetes Day this year, and we talked a lot about it already, is diabetes and well-being, which relates to mental health and stigma. And you have your own, you bring your own story, your own perspective, and you approached us quite a while ago when we first met, but then also following up, and said you would like to open up and basically just talk about your personal story, your experience of living with diabetes, and I just say, take it away.
Thank you. So my name is Brandon A. Denson. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes a couple decades ago. As we hear the word diabetes, it sounds so crippling and so overwhelming. So many of us live with this disease, type 1, type 2, type 3, type F, all of these different types of diabetes. But one thing, with living with this disease, it's taught me to be a little bit stronger, but also to have grace for myself, because no one day is the same. I've been able to do some very, very, I think, awesome things in my eyes. I've been able to walk on at the Michigan State University and play football there, earn a full-ride scholarship, play professionally. But most importantly, I think those were goals that I had as a kid, but I think being diagnosed at 17 years old, my world kind of changed, as much as I wanted to achieve these goals and obtain these things. Most importantly, the diabetes had to take the front seat, and that ultimately has been the driver for the last couple of decades. And by no stretch of the imagination is it easy. So if you see somebody living with type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 3, type F, give them a round of applause, because we go through so many different things. Unfortunately, this is an invisible disease that does come with a lot of mental mental issues that could cause us physical problems and complications. But most importantly, all I like to say is we live with diabetes, but it doesn't define who we are or what we're capable of doing.
But it doesn't define us, but one of the great American diabetes bloggers from the early doc times said, diabetes doesn't define me, but it helps explain me. And that is something I find is a very interesting sentence, because yes, a lot of what we do, the diabetes might not define us. We are brothers, fathers, mothers, friends, car mechanics, engineers, waiters, whatever we may be. There's many things every one of us is. But diabetes does have an effect on so many things, not only on the 180 decisions, as we say, that we take per day, extra to the many decisions we already take, but it has an effect on everything in life, including, as you were just saying, the well-being in the also psychological way. And you said you wanted to talk a little bit about that as well, and your experience.
Absolutely. I think, I don't think if we're looking at the screen right now or listening or whatever, I'm Black. I'm African American. However you want to state that, however you want to put that. The reality of it is the communities and the demographics that I come from, we don't talk about mental health, right? We don't talk about going to go see a therapist. We don't talk about making sure you're taking care of yourself with self-care, whatever that may look like. Self-care could look like yoga. Self-care could be therapy. Self-care could be going down to the Pacific Ocean and looking at the water every Monday. These are things that we have to talk about, because coming from where I've come from, and I haven't had it as bad as maybe some of my friends, but that doesn't mean that it's been an easy road. We all come from different backgrounds, different demographics, different social economic backgrounds, which play a huge role into living with this disease. But the most important thing that we have to understand is that it's okay to take time. It's okay to step back, because a lot of the things that we go through, people don't actually see. If I tell somebody that I have diabetes, they say, "Oh, you don't look like you have diabetes." And one thing I want to be like, what is that? What does diabetes look like? So kind of changing the narrative of what that looks like, because when you say diabetes, a lot of people say, "Hey, my grandma has it," or my uncle has it, and But also, I think this thing of understanding that we have diabetes, what can we do to take the burden off, to not think as much? I'll be completely transparent. I've been seeing a therapist probably for half this year, and I had to reach out to my medical staff to just see if they could help me find the right therapist for me living with type 1 diabetes. And I think it's been very important, because growing up, going to therapy, it was like I was forced to go to therapy, and I didn't know why I was there. So I felt odd. It felt weird. It felt like I was being punished. As I played collegiate football at Michigan State, I chose to see a therapist. And I can say that it helped me with my diabetes. It helped me. It helped me in my academic life. It helped me from a football perspective, because it helped me kind of block out everything and pay attention to how can Brandon bring the best version of himself out. And these are things that in Black and brown communities is looked at as you're being vulnerable or you're being weak to talk to somebody about things that are going on. I'm still unpacking a lot of trauma from being a kid and coming up to even being an adult. And the important thing is that you're able to offload those things and talk about them, because if you don't, then you're just carrying on this weight. You just keep packing on this weight and packing on this weight. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, we will break. Especially living with this disease, that brings its own set of challenges in itself. But then, coupled in with trauma and everyday life and work, and another thing is I actually just took a 6 weeks leave from work. I needed it mentally, burnt out. I'm okay saying that. But when you put the diabetes on there and then you throw the work in there as well, there's a lot of components and a lot of things happening, all at once. And, sometimes we really don't get, not sometimes, we never get a break from this disease, unfortunately. And that's the reality. And for other people looking at us, they don't fully understand that. So it is a mental. And if my mental or your mental is not right, then it's going to have an effect on you physically, which is going to put you into a slump to where maybe you're depressed, you don't feel well, you're not motivated. And these are things that it's okay that those things happen, but you have to acknowledge it and be conscious of it and look to want to change those things. And it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah. And thanks for being so open about this, Brandon, because you said one very important sentence in the very beginning when you started saying, you said, we don't talk about this. And I think you were referring to we as maybe your specific US Black American community, but I think it is also true for people with diabetes in general. Many people don't like to talk about. There is stigma, especially in countries where stigma is even higher. Many women don't want to talk about it because, it might make them, or they may feel that they are at a disadvantage. Many men in general, I think, don't talk about it because men in principle, I think, are just pretty shit at talking about health issues. Women are much more open to that. We don't, in general, don't talk much about health. We don't often take care of our health so well. We definitely don't like to talk about mental health. And I can imagine when you were saying we, you meant even more so in your specific circumstance, being a Black American in the United States. That might be, I can't say, but I think that was what you were referring to, right? We don't, when you said we don't talk
Yeah, I
about
mean, we're no stranger. We talk open, so
it.
yeah, at the end of the day, I can speak for everybody because I represent everybody, but I also represent a specific subcategory of people too living with diabetes. I formerly used to say I am the face of diabetes. Some people took that one way and they looked at it, as me calling myself the face of diabetes. But the reason why I say I am the face of diabetes, because I am the face that you're not used to seeing. I'm the face that you're not used to hearing talk and advocate. I'm the face that you're not used to understanding and seeing on whether it's a CGM ad or it's a pump ad or it's a insulin ad, because at the end of the day, if there's no visibility in nobody, if I can't see somebody that looks like me doing what I want to do or I want to accomplish, then you may step back. So to be full force and to just jump out there, for me, has always been the thing. When I got involved in the diabetes community, unfortunately, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. This is from working with nonprofits. This is from speaking on stages. The reality of it is, it's important for us to be seen, for us to be vocal, but also for us to be able to connect with other individuals. You may be from India, you may be from Japan. You may be from all around the world, but one thing that we have in common is we live with diabetes. And at the end of the day, it's our job, most importantly, to make sure we're connecting with the individuals that go through the things that we go through. They're going to be highs and lows, no pun intended. But the reality of it is, there is somebody that looks like you. There is somebody that has been through things just like you. And the most important thing is, there is a community for people that look like you to connect to, and beyond just that look like you as well.
Yeah. And can I ask you a final thing, Brandon? You said you were diagnosed at 17. Were you immediately telling people, friends, you said you were a professional on your football team in high school first, then got a scholarship, so you went professional. Did you tell everyone in the beginning? Did you keep it to yourself? How did you deal with that in the early years?
Oh man, that is a great question. So I'll be honest, I've always been pretty open. I'm
Mhm.
the oddball of them all, but I take that and I wear it as a badge of honor. I'd rather be different than be the same. And living with diabetes, we're all extremely different. Uh, when I went to Willow Run High School, when I was diagnosed in Ypsilanti, Michigan, which is no longer there anymore. The structure's there, but the school is not there, as in the Willow Run. And I remember this like it was yesterday. I was in the cafeteria. This was probably my first time ever using the glucometer around like hundreds of students. And I pulled the glucometer out and kind of dating myself because it was a code you had to put in on the glucometer for it to read the test strip. And I went to check my blood sugar, and one of my good friends, he probably doesn't even remember this, TJ Thompson, was like, man, like, what's that? And I'm like, I'm just checking my sugar. At that time, I felt away because I felt like he was being nosy and people around wanted to know. But what I realized, it was important for them to know what I was going through. It was important that they understood. So if I was having a low or I was having a high or I wasn't feeling good, that they knew if they can assert themselves and help. I've been pretty open, very open from the very beginning because, like I said, I didn't see anybody that lived with type 1 diabetes that looked like me, and that was extremely important. So I was on this mission, and I'm still on the mission on making sure I advocate, talk about living with type 1 diabetes, not just in the type 1 community, but the type 2 community, the type 3, the type F community, because there's so many different layers to
Yeah.
living with diabetes. It's not just me. You got to think, if there's a parent that lives with it in or their kid has it, unfortunately that parent, you might as well say they live with it too, because they have to care for that kid. They have to care for whoever it is that has that disease. But for me, I've always been very open on speaking about my diabetes because I think it's very important that people know that I have it. And if that's the separation from building a relationship with individuals that I have diabetes, whether that was in sports or whether that was just in everyday life, building a relationship and that affected to build that bridge, then that probably isn't somebody that I wanted to be associated with.
Brandon, Thank you very much. You said two things in the very beginning as well. You said, diabetes is invisible. You don't see how does someone living with diabetes look like. You also said you believe that it made you stronger. I think many people living with diabetes feel that way. It might take a while to get to that conclusion, but I certainly do. I would like to thank you for speaking from your lived experience, for being so open on this very, very open, it's World Diabetes Day. There's thousands of people watching this around the globe right now. It takes guts to, come here and talk about something that is very personal, very emotional. You made yourself vulnerable in a way, but you're sharing this, and I think it is a very important message. There's one thing that I always think about when I think about the non-visibility. I grew up in a small town in northern Germany. I didn't know anybody else with type 1 diabetes when I got it. I mean, But here's the thing: if you take type 1, type 2, and all the forms together, we know that on average, regardless on where in this world we are, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but on average, pretty much 10% of the population have one or the other form of diabetes. So I always tell myself, when you go in a supermarket and there's 100 people in there, and you grab your favorite orange juice and you turn it around to look at the back for the carbs, or you take your cereal and you turn it around to look at the carbs to decide which one to take, or there's probably 9 other people doing exactly the same. You just might not see it because it's just this one movement more, couple of decisions, calculations, etc., mental burden, blah, 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 blah. But you don't see that. It's one of the reasons why I wear this blue circle pin so much of the time, because I always hope more people with diabetes would wear it. It is the global symbol, not only for World Diabetes Day, but for the condition of diabetes, same as the red ribbon for HIV/AIDS that changed the complete picture many, many years ago with Freddie Mercury and the Wembley concerts, etc. I wish everyone living with any form of diabetes in the world would be wearing this blue circle, so that next time you go to a supermarket, you might not see this, but you might see 9 other people wearing a blue circle pin, and that might make things more visible. Brandon, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for taking time off work. I know you have to get back there, so have a great day. West Coast, USA.
Absolutely. And Bastian,
to celebrate World Diabetes Day ahead of you still.
I want to say thank you for everything that you've done, every opportunity that you've been able to provide and bring me in on. I want to thank you for extremely. I don't think I know you get a lot of praise, but I want to be the one to say it on the stage. It has been a pleasure to meet you, and I am glad that I've met you and all of the DDoc Voices and through the opportunities that you have provided through DDoc Voices. Thank you. Thank you.
Brandon, as we always say, pay it forward. Don't thank me. Take that, whatever feeling it is of gratitude that you have, turn around and give it to somebody else out there who needs it. That is the best way you can thank me, thank us here at DDoc, thank our team, thank the other DDoc Voices. Pay it forward. Take whatever you feel right now, go out there, help somebody else, do something amazing. You already are. Thank you very much, Brandon from West Coast, USA, who still has a long World Diabetes Day ahead of him, while others are probably falling to bed now already.